everybody. So, as promised, we are going to continue with Scarlet Hollow. There we go. Oh, also, just to let you guys know, apparently both Slade Princess and Scarlet Hollow are on sale this week. This video is not sponsored, but if you guys are interested, you might want to check that out. Load. Alright, so I think we're going to go to Stella's house next. Oh, have y'all not checked Stella's place already? I was too nervous going around by myself this morning in case I ran into any other horrors from beyond the veil. So, no. And I'm gonna feel really silly if she just sleep in bed. You make your way towards Stella's house. Kanika knocks anxiously on the door. It creaks open. Mystical. The interior is cold, but not just physically. There is an absence of joy in life that leaves only a chill behind. This is the ghost of an empty house. There is a sobering dread that comes with the knowledge that your search won't end here. This doesn't look like a break-in. It looks like somebody left the door open. Stella, or someone else, was in a hurry when they left. I don't sense anything supernatural here, but I don't like the look of this. Might as well fire ourselves in, right? Yeah, we should go in. Cool, I'll be brave and go first. Avery casually steps over the threshold into Stella's house. Whatever happened to Stella, it doesn't look like it happened here. Also, I've been wanting to say, I really love Gretchen's little setup here. That she's got cards and pictures and a big old pillow. Doesn't look like there was a struggle or anything. Unless it happened in another room, or maybe someone or something caught her off guard. You didn't have to add that last part. I'm going to forget that you said that and just be thankful that it doesn't look like a crime scene. Investigate the kitchen. Stella's kitchen is slightly messy. A couple of cabinets are hanging open. A loaf of bread sits on the counter by a used butter knife. Also, since we know what happened to Stella, what I'm assuming happened is she took off toward home, packed up some stuff, made some food, and then went out to the site of her mom and dad's accident. Is Stella's kitchen normally this messy? I wouldn't call this messy. It's a little messy. If this is a little messy, I don't want to know what you call my room. I wasn't judging. There's nothing wrong with a little mess. Or a lot of mess. We're getting off track. Stella's house has always felt a little sterile to me. This feels a little too lived in, if that makes sense. Though maybe that's just because I've only ever been over when she was already expecting me. Maybe that's just a rare peek behind the curtain at the real Stella. The real Stella should call her friends and let them know she's okay. Investigate Stella's room because we have street smart so we can see the hidden folder. You make your way down the hall to what you assume to be Stella's room. She's not here. Though it's a little untidy, it's the usual sort of untidiness that accumulates when someone doesn't often have guests in their bedroom. There aren't any signs of violence. I better not hear a single comment about this room being messy. I wasn't gonna say anything. Check her computer. You go to check Stella's computer. I'm not sure we should be snooping on her computer. Isn't that an invasion of privacy? We already broke into her house, right? For all we know, there could be some kind of clue on there. Like a note detailing exactly where she is. We didn't break into our house. The door was left wide open. Well, maybe the computer was left open. So, where did I go for this one? I'm with Avery. What if we don't find Stella and it's all because we didn't snoop on her computer? Sure, snoop away, but I'm not going to take part in this. I'll just be over here, sitting in the corner of the room, not looking over your shoulder. Let me know if you find anything. Stella's desktop is horrifically cluttered. There are simply too many files and folders to fit on her monitor, and they overlap each other in a chaotic, multi-layered display. Whoa, how do we find anything on here? You don't. Come on, let's go. Look for something interesting. You scan through folders and file names on Stella's desktop, looking for anything that seems like it might be interesting. One folder catches your eye, boring tax stuff. You're no fool. You've seen this folder before. You have this folder on your own computer. Boring tax stuff never contains boring tax stuff. For that matter, it never contains anything related to taxes, and its contents are never boring. Open the folder. You open the folder. You're surprised to see it contains a carefully mapped out diagram of the Scarlet Hollow mines, including holes in fences and areas with low visibility. There's also a handful of old photos of Stella and Tabitha together as teenagers. Tabitha wears an uncharacteristic grin, an authentic, goofy, joyful smile, and Stella's eyes are somehow brighter, less tired. Both of them seem to be living in a happier time. Okay, I take you back. This is way too personal. I'll just join Kaneki in the corner while you wrap things up. Check your open tabs. Uh-oh. Hang on. My mouse just died. So give me 1 sec. I got an entangle on my wires. Also, while I'm doing this, so we're not going to be able, since we gave up years of our lives to the ghost, we won't be able to, do, what's the word I'm looking for? It would take you all day to count the number of open tabs in Stella's browser. So numerous are your tabs that you can't see a single icon. So anyway, we won't be able to visit everywhere that's listed, because we will run out of energy. So, Her most recently opened tab is a post on Uncle Carl's Bigfoot Farm, a forum for cryptozoology enthusiasts. The post in question is titled, "Something Big is Happening in Scarlet Hollow." Hey everyone! Was out chasing a skunk ape sighting the other day and I found these weird little guys. My friend's mom says there's something called ditchlings, but I've never heard of them before. Anyone have any good leads? Cameras and shaky enough, this totally staged. Clean footage of some sort of cryptid nobody has heard of, except for your friend's mom. The only thing I'm seeing when I Google ditchlings is some city in England. See, I keep seeing this, and now I want to Google ditchlings to see if there is a city in England named after them. Thought you were legit. Guys, since when did high-quality footage count as anything other than actual evidence? These things are terrifying. Since every low-budget horror movie started doing guerrilla marketing, I smell an ARG. I'm serious, I've got a ton of extra footage. Look at this nest. They've been doing something to the animals in town, and they're apparently some sort of bad omen, like Mothman. Okay, I'm listening. I love me a Mothman. I believe you. Lucky you're falling right into her. I'm assuming that's supposed to be trap instead of lap. I don't trust YouTubers. They're entertainers, not scientists. The thread continues into the next day. Hey, okay, so 1, this is an ARG I would never, and 2, you're not going to believe this, but we went to abandoned mine last night to investigate things. I'm pretty sure we found some Tommy knockers. Listen to this knocking we managed to catch on tape. There's a link to an audio file titled TommyKnockersReal.wave. Just because you put the word real in your file name doesn't mean they're real. 2 supernatural events on back-to-back nights. This is so fake. I can't believe I bought into that River Runner hype. You're so full of it. YouTubers are always going to sell out to big indie horror. This is kidnapped by aliens all over again. Also, lol, doughy white things, now loud popping sounds. Noises, this is definitely an ARG. Did you sell it to Pillsbury? Stop cyberbullying her, I'm going to call the mods. Oh, locking the string, giving everyone a 7-day ban. No cyberbullying and no self-promo. The thread ends. Check her search history. You checked Stella's search history. She hasn't visited any websites since Tuesday night. If she came home after last night's incident, she didn't touch her browser. Her search history is almost entirely work-related. A furious series of queries for various monsters and cryptids that might fit the profile of ditchlings. That's that. Okay, I think we've seen enough. Thank God. I don't think there are any clues here. I don't think so either. This is what her room's been like for pretty much the entire time I've known her. The only thing that's changed is the computer getting a lot fancier. You could use a few more houseplants. I'll put together some trimmings after we found her. She still does those corkboards with string things. She loves putting the strings on there. I don't think they actually mean anything, but they're more for decoration anyway. You turn to leave Stella's house. Okay, so maybe she came home last night. Maybe she didn't, but she's definitely missing. I thought I was overreacting this morning. I hoped she would just be sleeping in. I can't believe she's actually missing. We'll find her. Where to next? Before you can suggest your next move, you start to feel woozy. Spots form at the edge of your vision. Your legs suddenly feel unstable. Your body sending you clear signals of exhaustion. Okay, so we can only do one more thing. And then it passes. So probably it won't be long before your body needs a chance to rest. You should plan your next move wisely. Do we want to go to the cops? Do we want to go to the mines? Like, we've done the cops thing several times. I can't remember, is Duke alive or dead in this series? I can't remember. We should go to the mines. We should check out the church. I kind of want to check out the church, only because mystical. Let's do it. The church? Why? I see what you're thinking. Stella was confronted with evidence of the afterlife, so she might try getting into all that religious stuff. It's worth checking out. I think we be barking up the wrong tree, but I guess you're right. There's no point in not being thorough. I wouldn't mind stocking up on some holy water while we're there, too. Seems like a good idea to cover all our bases at this point. I don't think Baptists do the holy water thing, but I'm sure Pastor Daniel would pretend to bless water if it meant keeping us around a little longer. That's good enough for me. Let's not linger, though. I don't want him thinking we're possible converts. Kanika leads the way, taking up the gradual slope toward the church. You know, I've lived here for a few years now and never actually been to the church. That's probably for a good reason. Where is that weirdo? My, 4 visitors at once on a Thursday? This is unprecedented. I can't say that word. Sorry, guys. But there were only 3 of us. Oh no, were we followed by a ditchling? Were we followed by Wayne? Sup, old people? Oh, it's just Zane. What are you doing here? All the glimpses of death I've had in the past 2 days have forced me into the midst of an existential crisis. My dudes, I wanted to see if faith held any answers for me. Alas, I have not yet found the solace I seek. Give it time, Zane. It sometimes takes a while for the Lord to work his way into your heart. But when he does, you won't regret letting him in. Be sure to look over those pamphlets I gave you, and of course, I'm always here for you to talk. Sure thing, Pastor D. Peace, y'all. Anyway, we're looking for Stella. She wandered off last night, and no one has seen her since. We're starting to get pretty worried. We're hoping maybe you or Janie had seen her. I can't speak for Janie, but I'm afraid I've seen near to hide nor hair, Stella. If you'd like to talk to my wife, she's just over by the alpacas. Though, Paula, I was hoping we might be able to talk in private. Sure, what's up? I guess we'll leave you to it while we check in with Janie. See you in a minute. Okay, so although I can't remember if we've, like, I think only if you have mystical can you dig up the drawings that Enoch apparently did, where he showed where all the seals were. But apparently the seal at the church, and spoilers, by the way, go ahead and play episode 5 if you haven't already, but spoilers, um, there's a seal in the church somewhere, and the seal at the church where all the other seals like are calling, come to me, come to me. The seal in the church is apparently repelling. So I don't know if Pastor Daniel is just part of that, and like he spends so much time with the seal that it's rubbed off on him, or if his curse is separate from the seal. Or maybe they amplify each other. I'm so glad you decided to come up to visit me. So many young people these days seem to think they can solve all their problems on their own. Meanwhile, God is right there ready to help them if only they let them into their hearts. The pastor's eyes dart back to their pockets. Okay, good, they're gone. Was what you said yesterday true? Am I creepy? What do this one? Wherever I see you, it's like this ominous little piano starts playing. You're talking about metaphorical piano, right? Because I can't say I've ever heard one follow me around. Well, it's always like this, you know. Believe it or not. Okay, so this answers my question. Before I moved to Scarlet Hollow, I used to be pretty popular. So either Sybil cursed them, or spending all that time around the seal, and the stay away rubbed off. I was one of the cool kids over at Harvard Divinity School. He's interrupted by the sounds of the snapping twig and the high-pitched giggle, partly muffled by the underbrush on the edge of the property. Tulip, come out there. You know you're not supposed to play in the woods. Tulip glances back into the woods, quiet as she hesitates. Tulip, are you going to be good? Or are we going to skip story time tonight? I'll be good. You don't have to skip story time. I won't go into the woods, I promise. I know you won't, Tulip, because you know it's too dangerous for little girls in there. Why don't you go help Mama with the alpacas? It's just about time they got fed. You can give them hay. Also, I think, although I'm not 100% sure, and we won't know until episode 6, but I think just beyond this path, or maybe somewhere up here, is where we pop up with Kanika after episode 5, which again, spoilers. Tulip smiles broadly, seemingly excited by the prospect, and hurries up. Sorry, I had to have a firm parenting moment just then. She's been trying to run off into those woods a lot lately, and it's really dangerous even for adults. There's this massive trash dump not too far past the trees, but must be at least 50 years old, so it's all grown over and looks like a part of the landscape. But if you accidentally walk on it, you might find yourself falling into a hip-deep mound of rusty cans, broken glass. Tulip made up some imaginary friends and keeps telling us that they want her to go out there. Like the word of some fictional creature she made up is going to convince us it's a good idea for her to play in somebody's old garbage. Ditchlings? Maybe? But she's 7. Of course she would get some funny little idea like that. I'd love to get the community to rally around the big cleanup. It's about time somebody got rid of all that junk. What's that you were saying about imaginary friends? Oh, she's just been talking to about these friends of hers lately. Little stories about creatures that live in the church. I'm sure she saw some animal in there and decided it was her friend. It's nothing to be overly concerned about except a crap-shape situation. This man is lying to you. In fact, he's been lying since the moment you mentioned these imaginary friends. Whoever his star has been talking to is real and he knows it. Yeah, because if we have talked to animals, he mentions that it's the rats, that he's been hearing the rats inside the church walls talk. Sounds to me like you know exactly what she's been talking to. Daniel's eyes grow wide just for a second. I don't? He does. He obviously does. He hunches his shoulders, his voice suddenly quiet. There are rats in the church. There, I said, it's embarrassing. But she saw one at one point, and she can hear them scurrying around in the walls, and she's decided they're her little friends. Please, keep this between us. Don't tell Janie. I don't want her knowing the church is in such rough shape. Out of the corner of your eye, you see Kanika and Avery walking back to the two of you. They must finish talking to Janie. Janie says she hasn't seen Stella either, so we better get going. Thanks for suggesting we head up here, Paula. We got to feed the alpacas. They were so cute and soft. It was awesome. And Janie says she'll come by the diner with cookies for the miners. And a few extra for me, of course. She's so nice. She even offered to bring me some since I'm feeling under the weather. Hope your talk with the pastor went well. Yeah, we had a great conversation. I appreciate you all stopping by, even if it wasn't under the best circumstances. I'll let you all be on your way. And I hope Stella turns up soon. I'll put in some good prayers with the big man for her. Alright, thanks. See ya. Kanika and Avery start back down the path to town and you follow. So, what was that about? He seemed pretty insistent on talking to you alone. Yeah, he didn't say anything weird, did he? Tulips apparently made some weird imaginary friends. We might want to check it out later this week. Kids make up imaginary friends all the time. Pastor Daniel says that there's a rat infestation in the church and that the rats are her friends. I don't know, it seemed weird. I should have known we'd have to deal with a spooky kid at some point. Okay, as much as I hate going back there, I guess that's a loose lead. We don't have anything else to investigate once we found Stella and Kanika pauses. Once we've checked out the clinic, then maybe we can look around the church. Sounds like a plan. Let's not get too distracted until we find Stella, though. Where to next? As you consider your next move, your vision blurs again. But this time it persists. The weakness in your knees returns, your ears fill with static, and you can feel yourself swaying, unable to control your body. It seems the toll of the pact you made last night is finally catching up to you. Whoa, you don't look too good. Your body crumples to the ground. Oh, shoot! The general store is just around the corner. Let's get you inside. The bells of the general store jingle welcomely as your companions drag you across the threshold. You faintly make out the unintelligible mumbling of what must be voices, and then you fade out once again. You come to seated in the tea room. Kanika and Avery nowhere to be seen. Sybil sits across from you, concern in her eyes as she watches you regain consciousness. It's dark here. The sunlight filtering through the heavy curtains, weak and watery, partially supplemented by the bright glow lights over the plant in the corner. Welcome back! It's just the two of us now, I'm afraid. Avery had to go help out at the diner, and Kanika's getting some much-needed bed rest upstairs. I went ahead and made you some tea, dear. It should help a bit with your condition. Your eyes drift down to the cup of freshly brewed tea in front of you. It smells light and citrusy with undertones of decaying earth. Don't expect it to change your gray hairs back, but at the very least it should make it easier for your mind and spirit to adjust to some of the physical changes you've gone through. Hopefully you'll be a little less exhausted and a little less prone to passing out. And when you're finished, we can use tea leaves for reading. On the house, of course. Until then, why don't we just chat? But yeah, we have street smart, so we're gonna do that. You lift the tea to your mouth and pretend to take a sip, carefully waiting for a moment as she's looking away to toss its contents into a nearby plant. So how did you end up in Scarlet Hollow? Oh, my family's been in these hills for a long time. She's been in these hills for a long time. That's how I know so much of the local flora. Everything I've learned was handed down from generations of hill folk. There hasn't always been a reliable sorry. There we go. There hasn't always been a reliable doctor up here, especially not one most folks could afford. They have to figure out their own medicine. And here's your opening. Dump that to... You take advantage of Sybil's broken attention to quickly dump your tea into one of the pots behind you. The other day you promised to tell me, what was it? Unsavory tales of my mom's youth? I most certainly did, although it might have been exaggerating a bit for dramatic effect. I'm prone to do that. In a town this size, you get to know everybody, no matter what the age difference might be. Vivian was a little younger than me, which meant I always had a certain older sister instinct about her. Oh, I just thought of something. What if Sybil... But no, I was gonna say, what if Sybil, was trying to make Vivian be one of her daughters? But I suppose that wouldn't work, because it had to be related by blood in order to call them back. Her family wasn't good to her. Pearline was a lot like your great-grandmother, Edwardine, which is to say she was not a very kind woman. Similar to Tabitha, but with more social grace and considerably more hatred for her fellow man. But your mother wasn't a shrinking violet either. She was just as stubborn as any other Scarlet, so her family choosing her as their punching bag made her into quite the rebel. Why were Pearline and my mom raised by Edwardine? What happened to their mother? Their entry in this world was violent, I'm afraid. Their mother was young, too young to be pregnant, especially with twins. She didn't survive the labor. What do you know about my grandma? I'm afraid there isn't much I can tell you. I think that there were two in that generation. The youngest died when the girls were still children. Edward D. never spoke about them, nor did your brother. I feel like I know a lot about the women in my family, but what about the men? Did they even exist? I suppose they just haven't been very noteworthy since Edward D. took over the mines. Her husband died a long time ago, and to be honest, I can't even recall his name. Might have been Stuart or something just as forgettable. From what Vivian said, her father was some teenage fling that ended once your grandmother found out she was pregnant. I'm fairly certain it was similar for Vivian, though she was much older. I believe she was the one who ended it, what with skipping town and all. What happened when my mom found out she was pregnant? She came to me for advice. She was distraught. It was like she had been handed the death sentence. Maybe it was fear for what had happened to her own mother. Maybe it was something else. But she seemed convinced she was in danger. Tabitha had already been born by then, of course, but she was born in wedlock, so I assumed your mother's worries had something to do with religion. Though the Scarlets weren't particularly religious as far as I knew. But the way Vivian was that night she came to me is stuck in my mind. It's always had me wondering what it was about your family that made her panic so much at the thought of having a baby. You know. All done? Oh good, glad you found tea decent enough to drink. It should do you some good. It's one of my more medicinal blends. Now, on to business. Sybil takes the cup from you, staring thoughtfully down at the sludge. Oh dear, this doesn't bode well. You've got just about every warning that can fit in the bottom of a cup. Cross, kettle, hourglass. All of these mean death, misery, difficulty, and the hourglass ties it all together with definite urgency. It's fair to assume that this all has to do with what brought the ditchlings. Something is coming, and whether any of us can stop it, I'm not sure. But we may at the very least be able to figure out what it is. And there's a central figure here, a cat. An enemy lurking in plain sight. Ooh. I'd like to see. I'm sure it wouldn't make much sense to most people. It'd probably just look like a confusing mess of old leaves, but you're free to take a look. You take the cup, staring down into it. It's just leaves. There's no pattern, nothing swimming together in the dregs of your tea to give you any warnings or premonitions. After a long moment, Sybil takes the cup back from you. I hope that settled your curiosity. Don't worry if you couldn't make sense of it. It takes years to learn this sort of thing, even for someone with your propensities. She winks conspiratorially. The cat could be Pastor Daniel. There's something wrong with that poor young man, isn't there? I don't think there's actually a bad bone in his body. There's just something perennially off-putting about him. His whole situation's rather unfortunate. The cat requires a level of closeness I don't think the good pastor is really capable of. Not to be rude or a gossip, I don't think he has a single friend in town other than his wife and daughter. You don't have to figure out the answer right away. It often takes time for the mind to connect the dots. Just be on guard and keep vigilant that someone close to you isn't to be trusted. We all know from the ditchlings that something terrible is coming your way, and it's likely that it's connecting to some hidden enemy. Also, do you guys notice the music? It sounds very similar to the music that plays when we go back and see Sybil's past. Perhaps we can try to counteract whatever might be planned for you. Judging by what you told me last night, those stones carving the seals, whatever you want to call them, I think it's likely they have something to do with this. Until the cat reveals itself, it seems like your best course of action is to seek these carvings out, piece together what you can from your visions, and arm yourself with information. Have you sensed any others around town? Do you think you might be able to find another? Your thoughts drift to that door yesterday, the one that seemed to draw you in, urging you deeper into the clinic. Even just remembering it is enough to tug at you, compelling you to return and open it to see what's on the other side. You can find Stella later. Maybe you can even find her there. What's important now is finally seeing what's in the clinic. You're doing that, aren't you, Sybil? You didn't get all of this from the tea leaves. Of course not. Tea leaves are merely a guide. Sometimes they can help confirm suspicions or fill in where my intuition falls short. My family has lived in these hills a long time, as has yours. I know the Scarlets have secrets. I know Vivian was scared for you. But your place and all this is something we have to figure out together. And that's where little tricks like tea leaves come in handy. But we shouldn't digress. Do you know where you might be able to find the next stone? Should we tell her? Should we tell her or should we not? I kind of want to see this. But bad stuff always happens around them. What happens around those stones might not be anywhere close to what could happen if we let the danger encroaching on both you and this town stand unopposed. The ditchlings are multiplying every day. This is all going to come to a head, and it may just be a question of how prepared you are when it comes. Learning whatever you can could save your life, even if you're faced with more ghosts or ghouls along the way. I think that's all the help I can offer. I hope this conversation has been illuminating, even if it just brought more questions than giving clear answers. Thanks. I'll let you know if I find anything. When you want to, I'm half tempted, I would have been half tempted to be like, I didn't drink the tea. But we want to keep her in the dark as much as possible. Glad to hear it. I hope all goes well and I wish you luck. Hopefully you won't need it. Thank you again for humoring the old lady and stopping by for a chat. With a small grunt of effort, Sybil gets up from the table and you're escorted back to the door. Remember, be careful who you put your trust in. According to your tea, the cat is getting ready to pounce, and merely being ready for it might not be enough. Sybil closes the door to the tea room. The bells of its store strangely flat in the stale air of the nearly empty general store. Should we talk to Miles? So, Kanika has a cold, huh? That's what she says. She's just trying to get out of work again. Like I didn't have anything better to do all week while she sits in her room watching anime. Says the guy in Goku pants. Everybody knows Dragon Ball is good anime. She watches the trashy stuff. You see any weird rocks around town? Yeah, you. He smirks. Clearly this is very sick bird and you should feel better by its wit. I'm gonna check it on Kanika. You're not going anywhere before checking on Kanika. You make your way upstairs. You knock on Kanika's door. Mom, I really don't need any more tea. I think I'm just going to lie down for a while. I need to talk to you. It's important. Oh, hey! Sorry, Paula. My mom was right. I'm exhausted. I probably shouldn't push it or wind up worse off tomorrow. It looks like you're on your own. Oh, so we don't get to see creepy Sybil. You make your way out of the general store and down the road to the clinic. Alright, we're gonna save it here. Because from here on out, it's gonna be like all one thing, and I kind of want to keep all that part of the story together. So, I'll get this saved and uploaded and everything, and hopefully you guys should have it tomorrow at the latest, maybe later on today, we'll see. But yeah. Oh, also, there is something I wanted to mention. So, you know how I told you guys in the last video to like the video if you guys wanted me to go back and play Tiny Bookshop again? So I didn't receive any likes, so I'm going to assume that means you guys want to play something different. So, we could go back to Chef RPG. We could start Echoes of the Plum Grove. We've done Gone Home. We could do Night in the Woods. We could do Oxenfree. We can do Roots of Pacha, which is kind of like a farming simulator, but it's back in caveman times. We do Slay the Princess. We could do Stardew Valley. I can continue with Strange Horticulture. Or we could do Tavern Talk, which is kind of like D&D, but the role we play is that of an innkeeper, so. And that one's pretty good. So, I won't ask right now, but just keep in mind, think about it, and I will ask at some point in the future, and you guys can let me know. Again, by liking the video or whatever. And yeah. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a great week, and I will talk to you later.